Hey guys, this is Okie Girl again, and I'm back with my second how-to video. Today we're going to be rehairing a pony, and the pony I just happen to have today is one of my derbies. Rehairing is actually not as hard as it seems to be. There are several different methods. Some people use needle and thread, which is what I actually started out with. There's a wire method. And then there's the method that I currently use, which is the reroot tool method. All of my pony hair I buy from dolliehair.com. This is what your hank of hair looks like. This particular color I happen to be using is Lemonade today. The tool that I use, I actually used two. This is my basic reroot tool. It's like an X-Acto knife chuck with a needle on the end with the eye snipped off at an angle. That just lets you catch the hair and then stab it into the head. Some things you'll need if you're going to do this method is your tool. I use this one with a needle at the end to help widen the hole, to help make the hair go in easier and to keep my needle head from snapping. Your hair. If you're doing the tail, to hold the tail in place, I like to use a couple of cable ties, or zip ties, as some people call them, scissors, and your pliers. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how I reroot the tails. So you have your pony that you've painted and sealed. Here's I've already cut the hair to length and I have it all ready to go. Basically, I've just folded it in half, twisted a bread tie on the end. It's real simple. You're just gonna thread it through the hole in the rear end, hold it in place, take your needle nose pliers, reach in and find the end of the bread tie. Again, this is where locking ones come in handy because I can reach in, grab it, lock it in place, and then you're just going to pull it through. Now you want to make sure you don't pull it all the way through, have about that much hanging off the end. Take your first zip tie, put it through. And at this point you can take the bread tie or the twist tie off. Of course I got it twisted on there real good. Alright. And you're just going to pull that up. Now you want to make sure also before you thread it through that your hair down at the end, both ends are even. But now you got it pulled through, you're just going to pull that zip tie. That's as tight as you can get it. And then snip off the extra. And your second one, is going to go right below that one. That'll help keep the tail from pulling out. So again, you're just going to hold it in place. The thing I like about using the zip ties too is since there's no metal washer, you don't run the risk of ever having anything rusting up in there. So, then you pull it back through. Ta-da! Tail. So that was simple. And now we're going to go on and rehair the head. This is a hank that I've been working with, so I've used quite a bit. I've actually folded it over and cut it in half, but for this is the length that I'd use on the G3s. On the G4s though, I'm going to cut this in half again. So You're going to take it out of the little deal. I also like to have some water just to mist it, because it makes it easier to work with, keeps it all together, doesn't get flyaways. So you're just going to comb it out, and you can see how it's separating into these individual, as I call them, hair plugs. So you're just going to get a little bit. Again, for the G4s, I'll fold it over and cut it in half again. Now this is actually going to be enough for 2 plugs, or actually maybe even 3. You don't want to make them too thick because it'll make it harder for them to go into the head, and sometimes it'll break your needle too. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm just going to, this one's holes are kind of crazy, but whatever. Start right here, stick that down in there to help open it up and widen that hole a little bit. Then you're going to take your hair, again making sure the ends are the same length. Then I just loop it over my finger like this. I'll hold it in place, and let's see if I can get it where you can see it. Then I take my tool and I'm just gonna, can't see what I'm doing, catch the hair. See? And then you just cram it into the head. And there's another one for you. Some people don't like, they say this is the, rehairing is the worst because it's just so time consuming, but I don't mind it. And one thing I can recommend is get you a comfy chair and a good TV show, and make sure you're going to be there for a while. But again, making sure that's pulled tight on there, and then you're just gonna cram it in there. One thing you want to make sure of if you've done a full body repaint, which is what I've done here on Derpy, is you want to be real careful when you're doing close to the ears here, because a lot of times your tool will catch and scrape the paint off, and then you got to do touch-ups. But I mean, other than that, rehairing's pretty straightforward. Get the hair, loop it, catch it on the tool, cram it in the head. So and you do that about 100 bajillion more times, and then you have a rehaired pony. Again, I'm just gonna cut it in half, comb it out. You can see it's not very exciting. It's very boring, but gotta be done. Again, I'm going to cut the hair, or not cut it, catch it, ram it down inside the hole. And see what I mean about being really careful around the ears, because the less touch-ups I have to do, the better. But I'm going to go ahead and rehair the rest of her mane. I do the bangs exact same way, except I'll cut the piece of hair in half again so it's a little shorter, and then just rehair it. But like I said, I'll go ahead and do the rest of her mane, and when I come back I'll show you how I secure the hair inside with some glue. So, yeah. Okay, so we're back, and hopefully by now you've got your entire pony head rerooted. One thing I do want to mention is you don't want to brush it before you've secured the inside with some waterproof glue. I mean, it's in there pretty good. I mean, it's not just going to fall out just by doing this, but it's not 100% secure until you've glued it and the glue is dry. Some people use hot glue to secure the insides. That's fine. You don't want to use anything like super glue because it'll seep up into the roots and make the roots hard as a rock and glue them together. What I use is just tacky glue. It dries pretty quick. It's waterproof, so I can wash and condition and style the hair, boil permanent if I need it. All I do is I get a bit on the end of a Q-tip, and just kind of smoosh it around in there just to make sure that you get all the roots covered. I usually let mine dry for 24 hours, and then I'll come back and brush the hair out, and then as you can see it's kind of uneven on the ends, and I'll trim them up once that glue's dry. But I mean, that's pretty much anything that's going to get on the neckband like that is just going to come right up when it's dry, so it doesn't really matter if you get any there. But yep, just kind of smush it around on the inside in there, get all the roots nice and covered. Make sure you get up there towards the top of the head for the bangs, and after that you're pretty much done. It's, like I said, it's not as hard as you would think it would be to reroot. It's just really, really long, boring, and tedious. So just let that dry overnight, and then you can wash it, cut it, comb it, style it, do whatever you need to do to it. So that's it. I'm going to in the description put a couple of links to a couple other rehair methods other than the tool. Like I said, the needle and thread, which is what I started out with, and also the wire method. So there'll be links there. Anything that you want to see as far as tutorial wise, just leave me a comment. Right, thank you.